Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast, and I am your host, Samuel. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire country. And it doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing to diagnostic lab, you name it. You will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 5% performer within your role in sales, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I am your host, Samuel, and today we have with us Rick Barnett. Rick actually founded a company called Rep-Lite. They're a contract sales company in the medical sales space. So they actually have a contract sales force that they hire people onto and then contract that sales force to medical manufacturers like medical device companies and pharmaceutical companies to sell their products. But I'm not going to spoil it by telling you all about that. I'm going to save that for the interview. This is going to be part 1. So as always, thank you for listening to the Medical Sales Podcast, and I really do hope you enjoyed this interview. Hey, Rick, how are we doing today?
I'm good, Samuel. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Another day in 2021. So you know what, Rick? I'm going to let you do it. Why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do?
So my name is Rick Barnett, and I am the founder and steward of a company called Rep-Lite. We are a contract sales and service company in the medical space.
Nice. Contract sales and service company. So that already draws some questions, but we'll get to that. How did you get to this space? You know, what's your career background?
So I was fortunate enough after the military and a short sales career to go in to be a surgical first assistant. And when I came out of that, minimally invasive surgery was really just kind of starting. I'm a technology guy, so I jumped onto minimally invasive surgery. And so through that, got the fortune to work with a company called Stryker Endoscopy back in the day. And what they asked me to do is to come on and basically help their clients, hospitals, operating rooms to be able to thrive in the disruptive technology. So I came on with Stryker. We built a team of about 800 over several years. And then I had the blessing to go to Intuitive Surgical, did the same thing for Intuitive Surgical. Again, covering the nation as a VP. And about 9 years ago, decided, well, wait a minute, we're having great success in doing this for the companies that I work with. Why don't we open this up to several companies? So
wow.
We launched Rep-Lite and no looking back.
Wow. So you that was quite a bit. Let's take it way back. So you even included the military in this. I want to take it back to college. Let's take it back to college. Did you know you were going to be in this kind of career? Was it a military focus? You know, where did the military fall in, and what did you want to do when you were in college?
No, dude. So you're in for a story here. So I grew up in the mountains of North Carolina, and we, on a little farm.
Okay.
And so for me, the military actually came in. Obviously, my father and grandfather were in the military, but I had no desire really to go in the military. But what I did know is that I wanted to go to college because no one in my family had been to college previously. So the military really was a way for me to be able to afford going to college. So I did my first 2 years in a junior college. On an accident, went to see a recruiter, enlisted in the U.S. Army.
On accident?
Yeah, on accident. Was fortunate to serve this amazing country in the U.S. Army in a special operations group, doing crazy stuff like jumping out of airplanes. And then came out of the military, and at the time, the University of Hawaii was actually doubling on the GI Bill. So here's a guy from Western North Carolina who goes to the University of Hawaii to finish his bachelor's degree. So,
wow.
And then come out of that, my father's in insurance sales. So of course I said, okay, well I can do insurance sales. And so that's where I cut my teeth in selling, was in insurance.
Got it. So you've had your military experience, you're in insurance sales now. I mean, talk to us a little bit about what that experience was like and what even turned you on to medical sales.
So it was great. I mean, insurance sales, I was relatively young. I had more money than I'd ever made in my life. I felt like I was rich. But I was working in the same company where my father was working, and we ended up our territories were up against each other. And dude, I was seriously having the time of my life. I was selling, I was talking to people, I thought I was creating value, but I was really impeding on my dad's career of, having 17 years in the business. So I thought, okay, what I want to do, and I always thought I wanted to help people. So I went to surgical tech school, came out of surgical tech school, went to surgical first assisting. Next thing you know, I'm standing in ORs, helping surgeons do surgery.
As a surgery tech?
As a first assistant.
As a first assistant, right. So, okay, wow, that's quite a big jump. When you were in that experience as as a first assistant, what introduced you to the sales aspect of that type of work? I mean, did you meet a sales rep? Did you just say, you know what, I want to do something a little bit different, go beyond this? What happened?
No, I was born with a passion to sell. And to be honest with you, being, in the OR was awesome, but I wasn't able to sell. That's not where, your patients are asleep. So you're not selling much at that point. Right. And so, it was funny. This was in a time when minimally invasive surgery, was just starting to kind of come along. And so there was technology, there was minimally invasive surgery. So I kind of sidestepped and started running a department that basically did all the electronics and all the things around minimally invasive surgery, and grew that department. And what happens is that Stryker happened to be one of my customers. And I was in charge of, procurement of product and all that sort of thing. And they're like, they come in, they send a VP, and they're like, when we sell to you, we don't have to come back in here. Our products are taken care of. They work. Why don't you come and build us a junior sales program here at Stryker? So that was kind of the launch. I took the jump, went to Stryker. I was employee one of one, and fast forward, 15 years later, and there was 800 of us around the country. So wow. It was a real blessing to be able to go and do that.
So what role was that? I mean, what was the title of your role going into Stryker? You didn't go in as a sales rep per se. You went in kind of as a leader.
I did. Yeah. So, but the deal is that all of our junior reps were tied to capital sales deals. So although I went in as a sales leader, I was going on sales calls with reps every day because we were selling the whole package, right? We were selling not only equipment, but also having a person in there to help manage the equipment and the junior rep role. So really, I was in the C-suite of every hospital in the country, I feel like, over the years, and was able to, sell to the C-suite, sell all the way down to SPD. It was really a cross-sectional selling platform that was really cool.
Yeah. So I ask everybody this question. I'm going to ask you the same one. Especially you, because you saw so much experience with sales reps. I mean, even though you weren't necessarily selling yourself, you were literally coaching and watching probably hundreds of different styles of how to sell. Talk to us a little bit about the top skills that you saw that, consistent performers consistently demonstrated.
It's a great question. I think the reps that I have admired and the rep that I've tried to be in my business is, first and foremost, they have a deep care for the patient, period. Regardless of what vertical you're in, you have to understand that every person that's a patient is someone's mother, sister, father, brother. They're a human that needs care, and you play a role in the healing of that person. So I think that's the number one thing that I see really successful reps do. They feel an ownership and accountability to that. I think the second thing, and this may be out of left field, but I really think that follow-up is probably the number two thing. The caring of the patient and being persistent and following up with the actions that are needed. I once read a stat that it takes 14 touches for a sales rep to make a sale, but most reps quit after 3.
I believe.
And look, I've been there. given up on a potential client before because I touched them so many times and I never made a sale. But so I think the short answer is a compassion for the care of the patient and the ability to stay with the process. Call it follow-up, call it resilience, whatever you want to call it. But the reps who I've seen be successful have those innate traits. And I'm not sure that you can teach those. You can, but they're in you, right? And all the other things, the hustle, the determination, all those things kind of funnel into those two things, I think.
Got it. No, that's great. I want to touch a little bit on your military experience. How much would you say that your military experience played into the rest of your career? Like whatever you learned within the military, how did it play out as you were making these different moves in your actual career?
So I tell people this all the time, Samuel. If you came to me with $10 million and said, hey, I'm going to give you $10 million, but your military experience goes away, I would turn you down. Wow. If you came to me and said, hey, here's $10 million, would you go back through it? I'd turn you down.
Okay.
So the point of that is it changed me as a man. It really did. It changed me as a human. It changed me as a man. Toughest thing I've ever been through. But there's something about being trained to survive and understanding the disciplines that comes with that is unorthodox in training. Like you can train to be a great salesperson, you can train to be a great engineer, all of those things. But when you're literally training to survive and protect and serve a country, the stakes are, in my mind, the highest they can be.
I got it. Wow. So let's go back into your role, your first role. You were looking over you were creating a sales team. Did you do this in different verticals or was it just around minimally invasive surgery?
Well, it started just in around minimally invasive surgery, and then it just spread throughout the divisions. Stryker's a big large company, and they've got, I think when I was there, they had 14 divisions. So it started to, grow and spread outside the divisions, because one of the things that I think that the medical space doesn't do very well, and this is just my opinion, but if you look at a sports team, because you're in Los Angeles and I'm in Atlanta, we can use the current NCLS. If we look at the Atlanta Braves, right? The Atlanta Braves have a farm system underneath their professional team. So if the Atlanta Braves lose a second baseman tonight in the game, right? They have someone that's playing in a farm or a AAA team that they can call up tomorrow morning to plug in that role. I don't think in the medical space we've ever thought about having a backfill when we lose a rep. And I think what we did at Stryker, what we did at Intuitive is we put a AAA ball team together so that when you did lose a rep, you didn't have this huge gap in revenue, competitive threats, all those things. So a lot of our clients use us to create their AAA ball team. And I think there's a value there, not only for the current sales force, but also when there's a hole in that current sales force, then they have an immediate backfill that understands the playbook, knows the product portfolio, knows how to speak to surgeons. So it's a plug and play model.
I like it.
That's what we did at Stryker.
Okay. So then, you did this at Stryker. How long was your stint at Stryker building teams?
15 years.
Wow, 15 years. And then Intuitive Surgical, how long?
5 years.
What inspired you to say, I'm going to leave Intuitive Surgical now. I don't want to do this for another company. I need to do this for myself.
I think it was, I looked back historically and I looked at all the KPIs and all the numbers that we were, the measurables that we were giving, and they were good with both companies. They were really good. I mean, we had, where we had these junior reps, we had higher penetration of our product portfolio. We had higher ASPs. We had trust with our customers. We had trust with our surgeons. And so seeing that, I said, well, wait, this should be offered to all companies. Like it wasn't company specific. It was kind of company agnostic, to be honest with you. So I felt there was a need, and we've been around 8 years and continue to grow. So I think we hedged our bet right there, and there was a need. And I think companies now come to us and they're like, hey, we're going to have an expansion, or we're launching a new drug, or we just made an acquisition that we need help with, but we don't want to disrupt our current sales force. Can we leverage you and do it in a non-risk way that saves us time and money? And so that's our value proposition.
I love it. So the contract sales forces, they're out there. There's some that come to mind, some in the pharma space, medical device space. What makes your contract sales force company a little different than what people typically know a contract sales force to be?
Yeah, great question. So for us, we actually are more interested in being a partner than a contract sales force. Now I'll explain to you why.
Sure.
When we engage with a company, and let's say that a company XYZ says we need 15 of these, whatever, we hire various titles all over the board. We go out based on our client specs. We find the people, we put them through our process. We hand them to our clients for a final interview. We actually hire them. So they're a Rep-Lite employee. Obviously, that's the typical contract model. But what our end goal is somewhere after the 12th month, we want this person to have proven themselves and be able to go directly with our client. So we have a vested interest in putting in really talented folks who we believe who are going to run hard, fight for success, and end up going to the major league team.
Oh, wow. So wait a minute. So a candidate finds you guys and says, I really want to work for, let's just use an example that you brought up, Stryker. I really want to work for Stryker. I have this going on in my background. I've done this with my experience, but I really want to work for Stryker. You guys say, you know what, come work with us, and then we're actually going to allow you to work with Stryker through us, and then incentivize Stryker to actually take you on as a sales rep.
Yeah, I think so. So we have less than 1% of bad attrition. Wow. And that I say bad attrition is someone calls us and says, hey, Rick, I don't want to work with you anymore. I quit. So over 8 years, less than 1%, which I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
We have over 96% of good attrition, which means our clients take our people. So for us, it's critically important, Samuel, that we put good people. And because here's the other thing. Let's say that we put a candidate in with a company, and in 4 months, they're not working out. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. That client can call me and say, this person's not working out. I have to replace that person at no additional money. Sure. So we remove all the risk off of our client's table. So we're not a staffing company, and we're not a recruiter. We're somewhere in the middle of that. I have one client that calls us the Uber of medical device sales.
And that was Rick with Rep-Lite. Such a valuable service to allow people to come on as a contract sales rep, actually have a hired position, and then earn your way into a desired medical manufacturer. Amazing service. We always do our best to have great guests on our show. And one guest that I also want to talk about is Chris Larson. Chris Larson began his career in medical sales at 25 years old, but his true path to financial freedom was actually as a real estate investor. He spent 18 years in the OR, and he made a lot of money in that space. But then he hung it all up. A career where he was making $300,000 per year, he hung it all up because he wanted to put himself in a position to spend more time with his family. And now his goal is to help others achieve financial freedom, just as he has achieved it himself. If you'd like to learn more about his secrets and how he became financially independent, how you can become financially independent, then you got to get a copy of his book, Next Level Income. And you can get that book at nextlevelincome.com/book. That's nextlevelincome.com/book. I mean, think about that. To be able to walk away from a career that was providing $300,000 a year speaks volumes. And, his business is doing so well that he was really able to take himself and experience financial freedom. And who wouldn't want to be a part of that? What Chris is doing, it truly allows people to become financially independent. And you're going to learn so much from this book. And everybody's on board. I'm on board. Doctors are on board. Medical sales executives are on board. Sales reps are on board. Everybody's on board because they see the value and they're getting that goal of being financially free. So if you have money to invest, if you have money that you want to put into action, then this is the man you want to do it with. Again, that's nextlevelincome.com/book. So you might be hearing this episode and thinking to yourself, I love what Rick Barnett is doing with Rep-Lite. I love what Chris has done with his opportunities. I've been trying to get into this space and I just can't seem to figure it out. Maybe you're someone that you haven't been able to land the interview, or you've gotten the interview, but for whatever reason, you're not getting to the second round, you're not getting to the third round, and you're not getting to an offer. And you're thinking to yourself, what can I do? What can I do next? Well, I want you to visit evolveyoursuccess.com and select Attain a Medical Sales Position. It's going to take you to an application, a very short application, and allow you to set up a call with us and allow us to help you get into the position of your dreams. Too often do we see people that they're trying, they're qualified, they're ready, but they just can't get to where they want to be. And they're looking for help. And we've reached out our hand and we've been able to help them. And now we've helped so many people get into the positions they want. And we want to help you if that's what you're trying to do. So again, visit evolveyoursuccess.com, select Attain a Sales Position or attain a medical sales role. Fill out the application, schedule some time with us. And if you're a medical sales professional and you've been looking for different ways to market yourself and really brand yourself and even sell, and you've been seeing the LinkedIn platform and you're saying, you know what, there's something going on here. I know people are actually selling on this platform, but I'm not quite sure how to do it. Or you're seeing thought leaders and you're saying, you know what, I know so much. I'm so respected in my space. My voice needs to be heard because I can provide a lot of people some value. Then again, I want you to go to evolveyoursuccess.com, select Improve Sales Performance, and check out our LinkedIn branding program. It's a program designed to help you sell on that platform and truly establish yourself as a thought leader. And again, you're going to be able to set up a call with us and we can just have a conversation that's going to provide you value no matter what you decide, but a conversation to talk about what you're trying to do and how we can help you do it. As always, we do our best to provide you with guests that have some value to bring, some information to provide, some knowledge to provide to everybody, not just people that want to get in, not just sales reps, and sales leaders too. So tune in next week for another episode of the Medical Sales Podcast. And actually, let me say this. You need to tune in next week because Rick Barnett's not finished. He has a part 2, and he really takes it home with what he does at Rep-Lite and how he's changing lives for people. So again, tune in next week to the Medical Sales Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a couple programs that show you exactly how to break into the medical sales industry, become a top-performing medical sales professional, and also how to masterfully navigate your career to executive-level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolveyoursuccess.com. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews.